Hi there. So I wanted to do a more detailed follow-up to the main channel video talking about the decision to retire from the Minecraft content over there on that channel. And I actually took a crack at this on stream earlier, but after I finished up, I was thinking I probably could have phrased some stuff a bit more efficiently, and also I was slightly distracted the whole time because I was glancing over in chats like he's just not paying attention to us. He's just in his own world looking straight to camera. And I was like, oh God, I'm so sorry, guys. I was like thinking because this channel is VODs, I should do this as a live stream. I think it's more effective if I just do it straight to camera, local recorded. Anyway, I'm rambling. So on the main channel, I tried to make the video as concise and straight to the point as possible so that as many people would hear the important parts before, clicking off. But here, I figured maybe there'd be an opportunity to just talk a bit more about the motivations, the things with YouTube as a whole that have kind of led to this point. Actually, first, because now we're on Captain Sparkles 2, I might as well address this channel and the content going forward, which is just me reiterating, no changes planned, streams continuing as usual, the uploads here still continuing as usual, plenty of Minecraft yet to come, so we should be all good. Although actually, one change, which you may have noticed yesterday, is I have made the decision to bring shorts over to this channel. With the sunsetting of Minecraft gameplay content on the main channel, most of the shorts that go up are also Minecraft gameplay content, so it just felt like it made sense to move that over here, and it also does put it in the same place as the content where the shorts have originated from, so it does link in. And I know some people are not interested in the shorts, totally fine. I feel like YouTube has gotten the shorts product to a point where it's broken off into enough different tabs that for those people who are not interested, you don't really have to look at it. It's not intrusive, and it'll just be there for those who are. Okay, well, anyway, that covers this channel. And also, if anyone's just joined in the past couple days after seeing the main channel video thinking that maybe you want to see more Minecraft content, going on into the future, it's good to have you, and hopefully you will enjoy. Obviously, as you know, on this channel, we do things a lot more long form, as you can tell by the video lengths, and it gives me more of an opportunity to ramble. But since a lot of you here kind of expect the longer videos, I thought I could elaborate a little bit more on everything that led up to the main channel decision. Because, I mean, it's a lot of factors kind of shoved into one decision that have accumulated over time. But we can go into more detail here. So, I mean, really where the main channel is at right now is there's a subset of people who are subscribed who are still, actively interested in viewing the Minecraft gameplay content. A lot of you actually are probably already over here watching the VODs on this channel. And so because of that, though, and because it's like a very small portion of the main channel's entire subscriber base, YouTube doesn't really like that very much in terms of like algorithm and stuff. And so therefore, that group who's interested in the Minecraft content, it's not really growing at all. And as people naturally get older, their interests change, we're going to, lose some people here and there who move on to other things. And it's totally normal and natural to happen, but we don't really have more new people coming in to join that audience because like my content at this point just isn't very highly recommended. I can go into why that is, and it's not like me giving an excuse like, oh, this is YouTube's fault. Like it is due to the style of content that I make in 2023 when it comes to Minecraft. But that's just the reality where if I continued this, in the coming years, that pool of people is just going to get smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And at a certain point, you look at that and you're like, that doesn't feel really good. I think, let's just say we achieved a lot. I'm really happy with what I did. And let's, figure out what the next step is, which in this case, I think that these sorts of direct-to-camera vlogs talking about current events and things like that is actually something that might take center stage on the channel because these kinds of videos are things that people have found really compelling. It's kind of surprising to me, but I often think about, well, what is a channel's edge? What is your competitive advantage? Why are people watching your videos, right? And in the early days of me making Minecraft content, there simply weren't nearly as many people doing it on YouTube. And of those, very few did it full time. And therefore, being someone who put out like consistent gameplay content, showing people new things they could try themselves in the game, having it fairly well produced, and then an occasional higher production value thing that brings in new people there, like that was an effective strategy, obviously, and it brought a lot of folks in to watch the videos. And so that was essentially my competitive advantage at the time, is like I was one of few who was able to do this and be consistent. That has evolved. There are so many more people who are making videos. YouTube has gone so much more mainstream, which I thought it was mainstream in like 2011, 2010 when I started, but just exponentially bigger now, and everyone knows like, oh, I can try to make a lucrative career out of this. And so you have so many people all competing for the same thing, and all of a sudden everyone can be consistent if they want to, which kind of tosses out my competitive advantage. Now, obviously, I have that core audience that's existed for many, many years, but because everybody else can now kind of do the same thing, right, in terms of bringing in new audience, it's much more difficult to get someone who's just joining the space to watch my content as opposed to any of the other content that's out there. And so that ends up leading into the situation I talked about, where we've got this audience, but it's not necessarily growing, right? And obviously, Jardon, you shouldn't be so concerned with the growth, but also we have this channel, Captain Sparkles 2, and it reaches this kind of critical point where, as I've mentioned, like the last year, half the videos I've uploaded on the main channel, I'm thinking in the first hour, I mean, I should have just, why didn't I do this as a stream and then upload it to this channel? So it's like this channel introduces that element of like, there is a threshold at which it just makes more sense to bring that content over here and make it a permanent home here, versus fighting this, ever declining battle on the main channel, where the problem is it's accentuated because of the subscriber base size, right? Like a video in YouTube's eyes is performing better on this channel with an equivalent number of views because it's not as big of a subscriber base, not as big of an audience. And so therefore it thinks, well, a higher percentage of the people who are being shown this are actually interested in the content, versus the main channel where you basically cut that by 10 for a video that has an equivalent number of views. And so, you have this ever declining viewership on the main channel when it comes to the Minecraft gameplay. And you also consider the extra time that goes into planning out a main channel video. Because I always try to make sure I have a goal, I kind of know what I want to achieve, and I spend more time ensuring that takes place versus a more free-flowing live stream. Because it's a live stream. You don't know what's going to happen. Whatever's going to happen, it's going to happen live, and you can't really plan too much around that and do cuts because you're there. You're on stream. And so then all that has to be edited. I have to pay for editing. And on some of the videos, it doesn't even compensate the cost for editing. And I'm like, well, I could have just posted it on Captain Sparkles 2, gotten the, potentially same amount of viewership, not had to pay for editing. And because it's a longer video, it's actually going to, monetize better. And I like, this is not a financial decision, but, it feels better to like not lose money and have more people watch than it does to do the opposite. I feel like that's not too crazy of a concept for people to understand, even if, it doesn't sound fun to have to talk about the businessy side of things, right? So you have that, but then you also have to see, okay, why is the Minecraft content, not bringing in new viewers? And so again, it's not an excuse, oh, this is YouTube's fault. Like, I know that I don't have the competitive advantage in terms of bringing in new people that I had earlier on, because now you have an environment where there are so many people making, any kind of video, but in this case, Minecraft gameplay videos, that you have channels that'll spend an entire month. That's all they're working on is a new Minecraft video, whether it's a 100 days video or what have you. Some, in order to not have to spend an entire month, they have whole teams that they built up in companies around them with developers and co-hosts and a bunch of editors, creative directors to help plan out, hey, this is what you should do and to make content on. So they are able to put out much more rapidly paced, rapid fire content and have things that are more tempting for people to click in on just having stumbled across it the first time instead of being, a long-time viewer of the channel. And I don't like overhead. I don't like overhead. I don't want to employ people. I don't want to have 1 billion people that I'm, worrying about paying salary to and developing things and hiring a creative director to be like, here's the analysis. You should do this video and this video and this is what's in with the algorithm. Like, I just don't want to do that. it's just where I'm at after 13 years. So it's like, yeah, I know in theory what could be done in order to try to bring in new audience, but it's just not really what I want to be doing. And I've always felt that your content is better if it's you doing what you want to be doing. That translates into something more enjoyable because you're gonna be in a better mood. You're gonna be more motivated to do it well versus trying to force yourself to do something that your heart's not fully in. And so when I think to the competitive advantage line of thinking, it kind of, then I start to think, okay, maybe that is why people are interested over the last year in these sorts of direct-to-camera vlogs, because what I do have as a competitive advantage is I've been doing this for almost 14 years now, and in that whole time I have learned a lot about the space. I know how it works, and I think I can lend my insight as it pertains to current events because of that history, and that is something not a lot of people have. I suppose 14 years from now, a lot of people will, but then I'll have 14 more years and be even wiser, hopefully. So I think about it in that line, and I'm like, okay, maybe that is why people are interested in these sorts of pieces of content. I like making them too, because I find myself as well listening to a lot of videos where it's more about the content of what's being said than necessarily the visuals. And so maybe that is translating as well. But whatever the case, I know enough to know that what has happened is in a sense self-inflicted on the main channel because of my unwillingness to make drastic change and try to evolve with the metagame. But also it's because I think if I were to do that, at this point, it might look like a little bit of grasping at straws, like, oh, what's this old man trying to do to fit in with all the new crowd out there? And it's like, nah, I gotta keep doing it my way. I enjoy just doing the gameplay stuff. And that's why, this channel was the best thing that I ever made in the history of my making YouTube videos. I just really enjoy being able to do casual live streams and then not have to worry about all the structure and the editing and the folks here, what to expect on this channel, that it's just uncut VODs, other than when I pause or forget to unpause in the live streams. But that's what we're here for, and we're still here for, and I feel like there is actually not really an expectation at all here on this channel that there's going to be some updated meta, because we're live streaming. There's only so much you can do with that, right? And it's interesting to me that I almost want to make a video trying to investigate this, but there was some point between when I started and the present day, somewhere midway along the way, where folks decided that all of a sudden high production value content on YouTube, from major production houses, TV, so on and so forth, that was okay, we'll watch this now. We are interested in this, because in the early days when I started, if some big company production house put out like a really polished like TV quality piece or something on YouTube, people just weren't interested. It was like, it's not really relatable. This doesn't feel like YouTube content. It's like too good. And they weren't really interested. That switch flipped somewhere, and it probably happened like somewhat gradually, but today it's like totally the opposite. And the super duper high production value, like TV style content and whatnot, and being very businessy, like actually works really well for a lot of channels. And I am very much not that, nor do I ever want to be that. And don't get me wrong, like still plenty of folks out there have tons of success without being that. And so maybe this is me kind of getting off topic a bit, but it's something interesting to me. Like there was a psychological switch, and maybe it was more so in the new people kind of coming in and watching YouTube regularly who were more TV viewers than before, that like, oh, that they're okay with this versus it not being as appealing in the past. Could have been due to how content is algorithmically recommended. But my original point was that's not something that can ever really be expected in the live streaming space, right? You are inherently limited in doing video game live streams, and there's not really the ability to ever cross that threshold, right? No one's gonna, like, maybe I'll eat my words in the future, but I just don't see people sitting in fancy news anchor studios playing Minecraft as really being all that compelling. I think you're still limited in the format, but I like that limitation, and that's why I think like this channel is very nice, because it's just kind of easy and low key. But I still, on the main channel, I still try to stick to, I want it to be a more polished piece of content. Another thing, though, that kind of led to the present day and where things are with the Minecraft content on the main channel, though, is how YouTube has, over time, shifted much more to, like, algorithmic recommendations. Back, let's say, 2010 to 2013, then it started to blend a bit, but it was very much like when you subscribe to a channel, you see that channel, like that's how you're finding content. Is you subscribe to a channel, that channel's content is going to appear when you log in and you're looking at YouTube, and like that's how people found and watched videos. And yeah, maybe there'd be related videos, there would be search results, but like on your home page, that was kind of the thing. I'm subscribed to channels, that's what I'm gonna see there, and then when I want to find other stuff, I'll look for it on my own. That now is like subscriptions to an extent almost don't matter. You're going to get served content on your homepage when you log in that is based on YouTube's machine learning going, okay, we would like to, keep this person on the site watching videos, watching advertisements. Like its goal is to give you a good experience and serve you content that you want to watch, but that doesn't actually always mean that it's going to serve things from your subscriptions. It could be it's oftentimes, when I look at mine, it's completely new channels that I've never watched before, but like I'll admit I sometimes see them and I'm like, I'm kind of interested in clicking on that. And that's what is serving people content these days. It's not subscriptions. And so ultimately, even if someone is subscribed to you, you are competing against all that other content that's out there that YouTube is trying to pick the best of the best. And, people are going to argue and be like, I don't know, YouTube serves me some serious crap on my homepage. But like, you get the point that like YouTube is trying to find the content it thinks you are going to want to watch, and it's looking at its metrics that it has at hand in order to do so. And so it's going to very likely find one of these videos that, whether it's one person putting a month in or 30 people putting a day into making it, and that is going to have metrics responded to it. YouTube's going to be like, yeah, I mean, let's show this versus the guy who just spent an hour playing the game and then he cut it down and stuff and things. It's like, yeah, that's oversimplifying my process a little bit, but that's how it looks in YouTube's eyes. And think about, like, is YouTube gonna recommend this shiny, fancy thing where someone developed a whole fancy mod in this one-off standalone video from start to finish? Or is it going to suggest episode 30 of my Minecraft Let's Play, right? Like, let's be realistic. It's not suggesting episode 30 of my Minecraft Let's Play. And in the past, though, when things were more subscription-oriented, like someone would log into the homepage and be like, heck yeah, you just dropped a new episode. I've been keeping up with this, and here's the new one. It's right there in front of me. That's not really, it's not much the case anymore when it comes to YouTube. Look, obviously on this channel, people are still watching after 30 episodes in the series, but it's not the thing that is going to cause YouTube to be like, yes, let's bring this to a new audience. Right. It doesn't really love episodic content. And that was always kind of my bread and butter through the years. And then anything I say, there's going to be an exception to the rule, right? There's obviously channels out there that are able to do episodic content, like a Hermitcraft or something like that. But then you also think like, okay, well, what's their edge, right? Well, their edge is you got a big group of people that's all able to interact in fun ways, and their audience can be like, oh, well, something just happened over. Let me check out the interaction just happened over here between these two. And then also, like, let's be honest, they do some freaking wild, gnarly builds that I don't do that. And so I would argue that for every exception to what I've said, there is some competitive edge at play that you could still identify as to why that content, why they're an exception, why that episodic content still works for them. So I think at the end of the day, it does very much come down to what is a channel's competitive edge. Do they still have it, or was it something that they had in the past, and they still have people in their audience who are watching, but it's not really bringing in new people. So anyway, again, I don't want to sound like I am, super concerned with, it's all about like, I gotta be bringing in new audience and it's all about the growth and no, not at all. It's like this whole thing probably wouldn't come around if I hadn't made this channel in the first place. Like I said, like, because this channel exists, it gives me an option that I had been weighing for a very long time, where it's like, let's just bring it over here. And then that way it's like, mostly the same people who are probably already watching on the main channel are over here, and they're still going to watch here, and it's just cleaner that way. Otherwise, this conversation might not be happening. I might still be trying to figure out the main channel if I never made this channel. But it just feels like, this is the best choice, the right way to do it. And that's my more long thought out, elaborate reasoning. I'm sure that I'm going to stop recording and I forgot there was another point that I want, because there's so much that I, the math meme of the woman with the numbers and in front of the, like, that's me trying to get to this point where the decision was actually made. And I could have just done this without saying anything, but I also, there are people who were on the main channel who, if Minecraft just ceased to be the gameplay, again, I like to leave the door open for music videos and high production value stuff, but if it just ceased to be, they'd be like, where are you still, where is it at? What's the plan? What's going on? So this was an opportunity to provide closure, which I liked. I like to communicate. I like it when people communicate with me, and therefore I feel like I want to communicate and tell people what's going on too. Even if, maybe sometimes if I overshare or something like that. But anyway, yeah, that's where we're at. But again, like, thank you for those of you here on this channel. I really, again, this was the best decision I ever made, was making this channel, and I really, like, it's super cool to have you here listening to these longer videos and watching the VODs, and it's super awesome, and I hope you'll bear with me on the shorts, and maybe you'll like the shorts even. That'd be pretty cool, because sometimes maybe you don't have time for an hour VOD one day, and you're just like, oh, that's a good highlight from, I love that. Sometimes they're good moments. I don't know. Anyway, but that said, main channel, I am hoping that even if the videos might not be as consistent after we wind down, the hardcore series in 1.21, that I'll be able to make meaningful pieces of content that people will want to watch. So, the world's got to keep on turning, content's got to progress, and hopefully you'll stick around and watch it. Oh, wait, here's the thing that I forgot after wrapping up the video for the first time, which is that, like, a lot of the Minecraft content on the main channel is actually things that could be done in a live stream format. Obviously, you know, I'd be kind of not paying as much attention to chat as I probably should if I'm to be a good live streamer. But, like, it's things where it is ultimately just gameplay and then edited after the fact. And so, therefore, it's like, well, is this Minecraft content that's going up on the main channel significantly different than what really already exists on Captain Sparkles 2? Is there really a really truly good reason why this should be going up on the main channel as opposed to just going and doing a live stream and making it a VOD on Captain Sparkles 2? And so much of the Minecraft content on the main channel, it's always been the case, but because I have this channel where I honestly, like, feel much less pressure about things, it's like, well, it actually still just makes perfect sense to upload it here. It doesn't have to be on the main channel. And so anyway, that was just another element under consideration. But just thought I'd throw that one out as well. Okay, now bye for real.